part two on the passing of Pope Francis. I did a live stream earlier this morning. If you missed it, I would definitely watch that. I will recap some of the points made in that stream, but there's been some new information that's come out, and I did have one major omission in the last stream. So let's get into the latest. Why they're saying the Pope has died from a stroke at age 88 on what was formerly the Queen's birthday anniversary, also the anniversary of the death of Prince, the musician, who had a song about the Pope. But here's what I missed this morning. April 21st, the day the first Jesuit Pope has died, is the anniversary of Rome being founded. April 21st, 753 BC is how it goes down in the historical record. Of course, Holy Roman Empire has that gematria value of 88 as well, matching his age of death. There's a rumor circulating online right now that he's been dead since February 18th. It's an interesting rumor date because if you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language. The one you're looking at is the most pure. As we'll get to, Jorge Mario Bergoglio equates to 111 in the same cipher. That's the name of the Pope, and he's dead on the 111th day of the year. But in the 4 base ciphers of the English language, Holy Roman Empire also equates to 218, and it supposedly ended in history August 6th, 1806, which was the 218th day of the year. And the Holy Roman Empire last year, August 6th, was 218 years since the anniversary of its supposed end. So this rumor about him actually being dead since 218, that would have been 4 days after he was hospitalized on Valentine's Day. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but I just see that that's circulating. People are speculating that Jonathan Pryce has been playing the part of the Pope since then. If you've never seen the movie The Two Popes, where Anthony Hopkins plays Benedict and Jonathan Pryce plays Pope Francis. Jonathan Pryce does look a lot like Pope Francis. They do look very similar. You might recall when Benedict died, it was perfectly synced with Anthony Hopkins. It seems that it might be true again because today's 111 days from Anthony Hopkins' birthday. And again, the Pope's dead on the 111th day of the year. But yes, this was a major omission that Pope Francis died on the anniversary of the founding of Rome, where all roads lead to. Now, again, these are the 4 base ciphers of the English language as you see on the screen. They are the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology applied. Again, I learned about this in a book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, which was published in 1926, meaning next year it'll turn 100 years old. I didn't invent this system. Again, this idea of coding numbers into words goes back to Babylon, the 3 biblical languages, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. All of those alphabets, every letter substitutes as a number. We learned about letters and numbers through Roman numerals. A lot of us in the English-speaking world, what they forgot to tell you is that the English alphabet is also numbered, and if you learn this code, you'll see how every day the rituals line up. Who gave us this code? Well, the Catholic Church did. The same Jesuits who gave us the calendar synced up the English alphabet as the 26-letter alphabet that we know today with the agreed-to spellings. They built a system when these things were implemented at the end of the 16th century. So notice how stroke is 88, right? They're coming out saying the Pope died from a stroke, 88. And with numerology, stroke equals 25, like Pope, like Vatican, and here we are in 2025. The death of the first Jesuit Pope in 2025. Again, when the Jesuits gave us the calendar and the language as we know it. So yes, these are the 4 base ciphers. We'll talk more about it. With regards to his death being on the anniversary of Prince's death, if you weren't here at the time, I had the single greatest day of growth ever in my YouTube history the day Prince died, and that's because I said that Prince was going to die very soon. When Vanity died the day of the 58th Grammys, his girlfriend from the time of Purple Rain. And then he ended up dying on the Queen's birthday. He died on 4/21 when he had the hit song I Would Die For You from Purple Rain, and he spelled it with the number 4 and the letter U. And U is the 21st letter of the alphabet, so I Would Die 4/21, and then he dies on 4/21. And remember, Vanity was from Niagara Falls, and they lit up Niagara Falls purple that day, and the media had to come out and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Prince's death wasn't planned. The tribute at Niagara Falls near Buffalo, the Queen City, was for Queen Elizabeth. It's just a coincidence that Prince is dead on this day. But yeah, of course, Elizabeth also 88. This is the anniversary of her birthday. Remember, there's 3 independent city-states in the world: the Vatican, Washington, D.C., and the banking district of London. The 3 independent city-states of the world. So, the Queen, London, the Pope, the Vatican. And again, who was just visiting with the Pope? Who was the last celebrity to visit with the Pope? Well, the soon-to-be, I think, President of the United States, J.D. Vance, as we talked about earlier. And just for the record, if you're not aware of this, historically, purple was associated with poison. Purple was associated with poison. You see how in the letters and number system, purple and poison are the exact same in every cipher. 88, 34, 74, 29. Perfect match. Today, the life lesson number, date numerology path, is 34. Francis also equates to 34, as does France, where the Jesuits were created in history. Of course, arsenic poisoning also equates to 88. And do you recall that in 1978, 2 popes died? The second one to die was the 33-day pope, which brought about Pope John Paul II, who was pope for a very long time. I bring this up because this whole thing is synced with Trump, as we covered earlier. Trump is 78 years old right now. Like, there's 78 cards in the tarot deck, and the top cards are Trump cards, and a lot of 78 business going on with Trump. But in 1978, 2 popes died. The second one was the 33-day pope, who went to bed on the anniversary of the Jesuits recognizing the Roman Catholic Church. Or, excuse me, I said that backwards. The anniversary of the Roman Catholic Church recognizing the Jesuit order, which is September 27th. The 33-day pope went to bed on that day, and he never woke up again. And arsenic equals 33. It's the 33rd element on the periodic table. Arsenic poisoning equals 88. But yeah, that was 1978, and now you have Jesuit-educated Trump in power. He's 78, and the Pope dies at 88. And notice how Trump is 88, 25, 47. Of course, he's number 47. Francis and Vatican both equal 47. Again, if he makes it to 2029, that's the year he would leave office, 2029. All this perfect ritualism. If you have not been keeping up with all the stuff I've been doing with Trump and 47, all the nonstop ritualism, a lot of these rituals have been perfectly synced with the Pope leading up to this moment. But yeah, again, Trump's got quite the overlap with a lot of these words today. The 88, the 25, the 29. Remember when he came out to Queen, We Are the Champions, for his GOP convention in Cleveland back in 2016? That was 88 days after the Queen's birthday. Cleveland equals 78. Cleveland was the only split-term president in U.S. history before Trump did it at age 78. Again, all these things are rigged jokes controlled by the Jesuits who control the nation. And, of course, Jesuit does equal 21 and 78. And here we are on the 21st day of April, while the chump is 78. Prince had a song called Pope, which released in history on September 14th, 93. From the anniversary of its release to today is 219 days later. Roman Catholicism equals 219. You might recall that Antonin Scalia equals 219, and he died by the numbers on the 44th day of the year in the time of number 44, and then his body laid in repose at the Supreme Court on February 19th, 219. The first Roman Catholic Supreme Court justice died in a big fat Roman Catholic ritual. The day he died, February 13th, can also be written 13/2 like 132. Roman Catholic equals 132 when you run it forwards, just like Antonin Scalia. And when you run it in reverse, it equals 219. Both of them. Roman Catholic, Antonin Scalia, 219. Dead on 13/2, body in repose on 219. And don't forget, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. From the day that the Illuminati was founded to the day the United States of America was named, it was 132 days. And United States of America also equals 132. Like Catholic Church, like Roman Catholic. Again, just to recap, earlier today, we discussed the importance of the Pope dying on the 111th day of the year, the man born Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 111. We discussed the importance of his last meeting being with the vice president of the United States, who represents the Republican Party. The Pope was hospitalized on February 14th, 214 as we write it in the U.S. He's dead on 21/4, the 21st of April, as the majority of the world writes the date, both 214, dead at 88, going with the Republican Party. Again, the whole Trump thing. Remember, the first time around that Trump won, it was the 58th election, and he announced from the 58-story Trump Tower, and Vanity died the day of the 58th Grammys on Prince's death anniversary, and then Prince died just before turning 58. He died 47 days before his birthday, dying at 57, which means he died in his 58th year of life. LeBron won the finals on the real King James's birthday, and Trump had the convention in the same stadium right after. The real King James died at 58. That was en route to the 58th election, where Pope Francis became a Jesuit in 58. You can see where Purple Rain, Pope Francis, and Freemasonry all have this 58-59 connection. Again, many of the rites of Freemasonry were written by Jesuit priests. Supposedly, there's no connection with Catholicism and Freemasonry, but here's the Pope doing the Masonic hidden hand pose multiple times. I'm sure he did it more than this before he was the Pope, when he was the Pope. You just saw the other day his number one cardinal doing the Masonic handshake with J.D. Vance, which was an image shared all across the world. They put the truth in front of your face and they expect people not to see it. And my sister, for example, very religious, very ignorant. She thinks Freemasonry is just a conspiracy theory. She doesn't even realize it's a real thing. She thinks when she hears it that it's just a conspiracy theory. My sister's probably the average person, and that's sad, but that's what the world's done to a lot of people, just made them dumb and average and no critical thinking skills and believing in nonsense. And you can blame a lot of this on the church, who passes superstition as reality and dresses up in costumes and has all these dumb rituals that don't make any sense that so many people are just totally invested in. And these are the same kind of people be like, why would you ever code numbers into words? That's so dumb. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You don't even know why they do this. You don't know anything about Kabbalah or the belief that this is how the God created the world or that these people are playing God. They have a reason for their belief system. And it seems to be working because they're dominating the world. But so many people jump to these conclusions instantly, and they're the same people that never think about anything. And they just go and do what their parents told them they should do since the time they were little tots. And they're in church every Sunday drinking blood and eating bodies. And to them, that's not dumb or weird. They just do it because it's normal. To the cabal, this is normal. This is what they do every day because they're into Kabbalah. And please don't be the next person to say, the Catholic Church doesn't have anything to do with Kabbalah. You don't know what you're talking about. The Templars brought back the knowledge of Kabbalah and a whole lot of other things in the time of the Crusades. This is all part of the historical record. How many things do you think the Vatican has down there in their little archive in the basement that almost nobody knows what is in there? These people have the artifacts of the world. I get tired of these religious dopes with their dumb comments. The Catholic Church doesn't have anything to do with Kabbalah. They got everything to do with everything, dummy. They run this world, and it's a problem, and it needs to end, and it will end if people wake up and stop being a bunch of pussies. That is the word of the day. If you believe in all this bullshit because you're a scared little person, because when you were a child, you were told that if you don't believe what these authorities said, you're going to go to the eternal hellfire, that makes you a pussy. Work on your critical thinking and look at how the authority lies to you your whole life and uses fear and intimidation to control your ass from the cradle to the grave and exploits you all the way along. That's the greater message here, because this is what they do every day, and that's the lesson here. This isn't just about the Pope today. This is what these people do every day for every last ritual they perform on us, and they are a death cult, and that's why you guys are going around with your crosses, your symbol of death. You guys subscribe to the death cult. You're part of the evil cult. Work on it. End it. Anyway, take a good look at the numbers. Vatican, Francis, you see all the overlap? Again, we just had the first Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday. The score was 25-22, 47 points. The Vatican's birthday is 211. 211's the 47th prime. The Apprentice equals 211. Think about that with the chump. The Apprentice, who became the 47th president in the time of the 119th Congress. And the first time around, it was called for him on November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, when he ran on building a wall, and Berlin Wall equals 45, and he was number 45 back then. But today's date numerology, the paths are 70 and 34, which would both break down to 7. Notice how Francis is 70 and 34. Pope Francis, dead on the 111th day of the year, going with his birth name, and on a date with 70 and 34 numerology. No doubt this was planned from the beginning. Again, J.D. Vance, the last man to meet with the Pope, who recently became a Catholic. The Pope's dead on the 263rd day of his age, the 56th prime. Remember, Pope equals 56 as well, like Society of Jesus, like Washington, D.C. Last night's live stream, the last live stream before the Pope died, went into great detail about how important the 56 is, how it all leads back to the Rome, the Jesuits, the Pope, why Hollywood's coming out with a movie that's literally mocking yours truly, Eddington, where the trailer's playing my quote through the entire thing, the same quote I said over and over 1,000 times during the time of the scandemic, led by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab, who also resigned today, the day the Pope died. By the way, how many times have I told you guys that Bitcoin's ran by the Jesuits? Did you see that it skyrocketed up to 88,000 today? Oh, man, just so many proofs every day, especially today. But yeah, this is also important. Again, the Church of Satan piece. I've always explained how the Church of Satan has the Jesuit fingerprints all over it. Again, there will be 9 days of mourning, and the 9th day of mourning will be on the Church of Satan's 59th birthday when Pope Francis equates to 59 and Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year. For Pope Francis, before dying at the reflection of that number, 95, the German Pope, when Martin Luther the German wrote the 95 Theses that brought about the Jesuits. But yeah, notice, again, from the day that Pope Francis was hospitalized to the day of his death, 67 days, like Satanic, like Easter Monday, as they call it, like human sacrifice, like blood sacrifice, like soul. Again, if you watched last night's podcast before he died, I said, we talk about this number practically weekly with celebrity sacrifice, 67. Let the Pope be the latest member of the club. And again, the movie about the Pope dying, Conclave, came out just before Halloween on the day leaving 67 days left in the year. Don't forget Halloween. Halloween, funny enough, equals 95, and it's the day in history that Martin Luther penned the 95 Theses. But yeah, that was the day leaving 67 days, the movie about the death of the Pope. And again, at the time of the Oscars, when it was all the hysteria about how the Pope was going to die soon, while this movie was up for a gazillion nominations, it didn't win. Remember, the movie that won all the awards was the movie about the young prostitute. And then when she went up on the stage, she said, shout out to all the sex workers. It's like, oh, that's just what the world needed that's already addicted to porn. And remember, it's just like back in the day of Martin Luther. Martin Luther was mad that the church was taxing everybody with indulgences. And what was going on back then is the Catholic Church was making sure that the brothels were open and all the things that were connected to sin, because they knew if they could get their patrons to go into the brothel on the weekend, they'd be paying double time on Sunday in church and at the confessional. It's the same thing now. They control both sides of the aisle. They got the whole game on lockdown. They've convinced people that the way you were made in the image of the Creator, with all the natural tendencies you have, that means you're bad. Oh my God, you have sexual urges? You better wash that out of your mind right now. You're going to the eternal hellfire. Come here, little boy. Pope's going to teach you right. Your butthole might be a little bit more sore, but don't you worry about that. Don't say a word, or you might get the hellfire. All right, so again, 9 days of mourning here. 9 days of mourning, which is going to take us to April 30th, the Church of Satan's 59th birthday. And again, Pope Francis equals 122, just like San Francisco, like Satanic. San Francisco is where the Church of Satan was founded on the 122nd meridian. Just think about it. Just think about it. St. Francis of Assisi is what San Francisco is named after, just like Pope Francis on the 59th birthday. Again, the Pope's birth name's got the 201 in it. Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, died 201 days from his own birthday and also 201 days from the sitting Pope's birthday at age 67. Yeah, Anton LaVey died at 67, just like the Pope's dead in a 67. Ritual sync with the Church of Satan when Satanic 67. But again, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201, like Catholic Pope, like the Jesuit Order, like Domus Sanctae Martae. He's the first one to live in the Domus Sanctae Martae at apartment 201. He's also the first Jesuit Pope, and this is the number that defines the entire Jesuit history, 201. They were created 201 months after Martin Luther penned the 95 Theses. They were preserved with Catherine the Great with 201 Jesuit priests. I've told this story a gazillion times. Maybe it's time for me to finish my book on the Jesuits in 201 now that the Pope's dead. And we'll go back and look at his official illness that he was hospitalized for, how the official illness equaled 201. Don't forget, in light of him dying on the Queen's birthday, the Queen died 201 days after her COVID diagnosis. And again, the 201 was the name of the simulation, Event 201, for the COVID outbreak. And that was put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab when the Jesuit orders 201. And again, he just happens to resign from the World Economic Forum on the day the Pope dies. And also, I got to give a shout out to a guy I don't care for too much, but he had a good find. There was an eclipse October 2nd last year, and it went over Argentina, the Pope's native country, and it went over Easter Island. And from that eclipse to his death today is 201 days. Again, this is all synced with Trump, who got 312 electoral college votes. The 105 is important because Order of Illuminati is 105 and 201. And again, that was created by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, May 1st, 1776. Again, from Trump's birthday to this death is 311 days. Again, 201 is 311 in base 8 counting. Just like how Event 201 was the pandemic simulation, and the simulation was declared, or the pandemic was declared on March 11th, 311. Not an accident. Again, Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, just so you can see it again with your own eyes. His birthday, April 11th, died October 29th, 201 days after his birthday. And the Pope at the time, Pope John Paul II, he died 201 days before the sitting Pope's birthday at the time. Catholic Pope 201, the Jesuit order. Don't forget, Trump runs on Mega, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. How this all comes together ever so perfectly. Trump's given the speech about the serpent so many times. The snake. It's the year of the snake. The year of the snake began on January 29th. 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. And the Vatican has a lot of symbolism paying tribute to the serpent there as well. But yeah, here's the thing about the eclipse going over the Pope's country, Argentina. Never forget, one of our favorite Pope rituals all time around here was when Argentina won their first World Cup since '86, the day after the Pope's 86th birthday. The World Cup had never been in the wintertime before. The dopes will say, well, they had to do that because they were playing in the middle of the desert where it's really hot. And the smarter person will realize that the reason they scripted it like that was for that excuse, so they could have it the day after the Pope's 86th birthday. We cashed big time. We had Argentina over France before the tournament even began. France fell to 2-2 in the World Cup in 2022. Pope Francis. France loses to Argentina, his native country. The same place Small Mustache Man was hidden after his death at age 56, his supposed death. And by the way, Easter Sunday fell on April 21st, the year that Small Mustache Man was born, old Adolf. Yeah, Easter was April 21st that year. Ishtar, connected to war and bunnies and eggs. Again, the Catholic Church worships the sun that rises in the east, and Easter sounds like Eastar. But yeah, 201 days from the eclipse. And don't forget how important this is, the history of eclipses, because remember, the COVID shot went live in the U.S. on the day of the total solar eclipse in the Pope's country, Argentina. And again, Event 201 was a simulation. The man who coined the term corona, which is for the light that goes around the sun in the time of eclipse, Jose Wakanda Fer. This is an old post. He died at age 54, like Jesuit orders 54, like Sun. There's a lot of things that are interesting here, but I was showing how the picture of him is doing the hidden hand like the Pope. This is an old post from 2020. His name is 201. The name of the man who coined that phrase, just like the Pope's name is 201. And he's connected to eclipses. And now all these years later, the Pope's dead 201 days after an eclipse where we had a little corona. See how they do this? You see how perfectly coordinated it all is? And remember, they're way ahead of this. They figured out the eclipses and the mathematics of it a long time ago. They figured all this stuff out in the 16th century. This is an old system. And don't forget, in the 16th century, the century of the Jesuits, the century of the calendar being implemented, the century of the English alphabet being standardized, that was also the century that they agreed to the heliocentric model. And heliocentrism is 201. Again, they figured out a system and they implemented it in the 16th century, and it's all about the sun. Sun is 54, Jesuit order is 54. You know, it's like John Carroll's 54. The first Jesuit university in the U.S. was established while John Carroll was 54 years old at its peak. 54 Jesuit universities in the U.S. Today's 54 days before Trump's birthday. I'm going to show you the headline that Fox ran, paying tribute to the Pope dying 54 days before Trump's birthday. We're going to look at that in a minute. The reason Bill Gates is up here is because his wife at the time, Melinda Gates, she has the same birthday as the Jesuits. Melinda French Gates. She comes from a family of Jesuit priests. Bill Gates was the main co-sponsor to Event 201 with the Jesuit Klaus Schwab. Of course, Bill Gates always hangs out at the World Economic Forum. He called the future 10 years almost to the day at the World Economic Forum back in 2010, saying that there'd be a movement to mass jab everybody in 2020. He was right on the money because he knew the script. But yeah, anyway, I just had to go back and show you how that all fits together too. It's a little more new information. And here's what he was suffering from. This was the news of when he got hospitalized on Valentine's Day. He was celebrating from a polymicrobial respiratory tract infection. And you can see the 201. The 201. Again, from him becoming Pope on the 72nd day of the year, when Jesuit orders 72 and the sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. From that day to his death, it's 145 months and days. Again, 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. Big Catholic number 145. They're saying he died at 7:35 a.m. local time. 7:35 a.m. Catholic 35. Holy See in the same cipher 35. Here, let's just do it. One more time. JFK, the first Catholic president, number 35, killed on I-35 at age 46. Holy See 35. Jesuitism 35. I-35. Holy See, I-35, Genesis 3:5, again about the eyes of God. And the Pope just happened to be dead at 35 minutes after the hour. They have to tell you, too, that it was 1:35 in the Jesuit stronghold, Washington, D.C. Here's why they did that. Because Bavaria is 135 and 54, like Jesuit order, where the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. This stuff is Illuminati. Again, Order of Illuminati, 201. 105, just like Jorge Mario Bergoglio. 93, like how far away the sun is on average, 93 million miles away. And did you catch that Illuminati is also 150, just like heliocentrism, because it's 150 million kilometers away on average. Never forget when Alec Baldwin smoked the Ukrainian woman in the church shootout scene on the set of Rust right before Russia-Ukraine. That was 201 days after his birthday, which is the 93rd day of the year, the day that Brandon Lee was buried in 93. But they had to tell you, 201 days after his birthday, Baldwin shoots the woman at 1:50 in the afternoon. And again, his birthday is the 93rd day of the year. All these Illuminati numbers, all the same numbers end up in the ritual with the war between Ukraine and Russia. All synced up with the Jesuit Ignatian year. Again, these people are super redundant. The Illuminati is a real historical thing, and it's a real thing right now, despite what anybody else would say who would come at you with no real argument when we can prove ours every single day. Again, the Jesuits known for killing with arsenic poisoning 88 like poison. The 33-day Pope, it's believed that's how he was killed. Again, the Superior General from his birthday to the Pope's death, exactly 23 weeks into his age. They're calling this Easter Monday, Easter 23 like end. From the chump being at the Vatican in the big Jesuit ritual right after he became president the first time with his shit-eating grin and the Pope looking like he has poopy pants. From that day to today, 94 months and change. And remember, it's 68 months and change since J.D. Vance became a Catholic. Easter is 68 and 94. Catholicism is 68. Roman Catholic Church is 94. And those numbers come together in a lot of different rituals, including Helios, another name for the sun, which is the root word of heliocentrism. It's also 31 years since Prince did his song about the Pope, and it will turn 32 later this year. And again, just today's the anniversary of the Queen's birthday. She died on the Virgin Mary's birthday, September 8th, and she died again 201 days after her Cooties 19 diagnosis. Again, just another reminder that the Pope, when he spoke in D.C. on September 23rd, 2015, it was the 266th day of the year. He's the 266th Pope. There's a prophecy from a long time ago that the 266th Pope will be the last one. We're going to find out if that's a true or false prophecy here very soon. If it is true, man, we better look out. You got your billionaire bunker ready? Remember the Commodus warning and Leave the World Behind? Yeah, in case you guys forgot that one, the first movie that Obama puts his name on, Leave the World Behind. At the end, it ends with the billionaire bunker with Commodus on the wall when Commodus died in the year 192 at the time of the fall of Rome. Leave the world behind, 3, 2, 1, like a countdown. 93, there's that Illuminati thing. But yeah, again, just Pope Francis, 266th Pope, first Jesuit. Jesuit motto, Isus Omnium Salvator, 266. Also 122 like Pope Francis. Again, it's the 274th week since Kobe died at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age, traveling from Catholic Mass and a big sun ritual on a Sunday. Sun 54, Gianna Bryant 54, Kobe Bean Bryant 54. The Sunday before Super Bowl 54, where it was the Joe Montana Bowl, Catholic educated at Notre Dame. That was the 2019 season, and he wore 19 with the Chiefs, who beat his 49ers. Don't forget the other year when the Chiefs beat the Niners. They were the first team to go back-to-back in 19 years, and the score was 16-19 before they tied it up at 19-all, and McCall Hardman caught the game winner for his 19th career touchdown while Montana was 67 years old, the 19th prime. Anyway, it's all this stuff's a joke, and of course in the Super Bowl you play for the Lombardi trophy, and of course Lombardi was a Jesuit, and the Jesuits have celebrated the sun's birthday as Sol Invictus since the year 274 AD, thus the Isus Hominum Salvator encoding. National Football League 85, big NBA number as well. I covered the 206 thing in the last video. I'll skip that for now, but this Trump headline, you see how they emphasize back in America. Trump reacts to Pope Francis' death at White House, says religion is back in America. Oh, the Pope's dead and now religion's back. That's kind of weird, isn't it? But look at it, you guys. It's 54 days before the Trump's birthday. Back in America, 54. Jesuit educated as Trump. Went to Fordham. Jesuit Order 54. Sun 54. The Jesuit headquarters. The Church of the Jesuit Building 54. I mean, come on. Come on. And then just these other things that are circulating right now. Bitcoin just skyrockets out of nowhere up to 88,000 the day the Pope's dead. I've showed you a million times. We've had so many dead-on calls with Bitcoin. And no, I didn't predict it to be at 88K today, but we've had a lot. And I've always told you it's Jesuit controlled. Bitcoin equals 72, like money equals 72, like Jesuit order equals 72. Last year, 2024, I told you Bitcoin's going to hit 72K on the 72nd day of the year and then get out at that point because it's going to crash back down after that. Exactly what it did. Told you that a month in advance. Yeah, I mean, for all you guys who think Bitcoin's not a controlled currency, you're dead wrong. That's why the rituals are always so perfect. And again, Klaus Schwab, who is a Jesuit, who runs the World Economic Forum, who simulated the scandemic that was all synced with all the Jesuit leadership, just happens to resign today. You know, why not? 21 days after his birthday, Jesuit 21. He's 87. The Catholic Church equals 87, like Ignatius Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. All right, let me put eyes on the chat real quick. Let me see if you guys got anything to add. You know what? I'll test my luck real quick and see if my call-in system is cooperating. Or you know what? I can do it the ghetto way. If anybody wants to call in, let me put the number up on the screen. If I got to be quick, you guys. I'm going to take 5-10 minutes of calls, and then I got to get out of here. The number's up on the screen, 509-560-4982. I'm supposed to be somewhere in 5 minutes, so I can be a little bit late. But yeah, if anybody else has anything to add on this decode, please share it now or forever hold your peace, or at least until the next live stream. What's up, 407?
Hey, what's up, Zach? I'll be real quick. I was reading the chat, and some people brought up some things that we discussed in the past regarding the Pope. But remember when we talked about the Pope opening those portals at the end of last year? I think I was looking it up, and the first one he ordered I mean, the first one he opened was on the 24th, Christmas Eve, and that's a span of 119 days ago, going with the Vatican and Francis numbers.
Good one.
And then the word portals itself is another 88. And then the other thing that I saw in the chat, I think his name was Joshua, he put in the chat, but he reminded us about the Slipknot performance. They performed Gematria, the Killing Name, earlier this year on the 28th. That was 52 days ago today. So it's another 52. And I think when we were going over that when it happened, they said they would only perform if the Pope opened for them, right?
Yeah, they said they would only perform it for the Pope. So give it to me one more time how that went down. They performed it 52 days before the Pope died?
Yeah, on February 28th, earlier this year.
Wow. And that's the 59th day of the year, like Pope Francis.
Yep. So, I mean, like you've taught us, there's always more to find. And, I mean, they're just adding on because we know what else happened 421. There was the Prince death. What else happened? There was a couple other things, but yeah, today just becomes that much more significant for history.
Yeah, we've always talked about this song, Gematria, the Killing Name, and here it is, February 28th, the 59th day of the year. And remember, I was speculating that when they were saying he was on his deathbed after Valentine's Day, I speculated that he might very well pass on the 59th day of the year. That didn't happen, but I didn't realize that Slipknot performed this song. So yeah, that's the 59th day of the year. He's dead on the 111th, 52 days later, Pope 52. Gematria also equals 52, as does Kabbalah, and as does President and White House and government. That's amazing. I did not realize that. And it reminds me that the two members of Slipknot to have died, they both died in rituals with 38 and 46. Slipknot equals 46 like Catholic. Sacrifice equals 46, like Genesis 46, and of course, death, murder, killing, and RIP, as well as Gematria, they all equal 38. So, unbelievable. Wow.
Yes, I mean, the fact that he opened the portals for Jubilee year, I don't know what that means, but it can't be anything good, right?
Uh-huh.
There's going to be a lot of population decrease in the year 2025, so we'll see what happens, right?
They say it's the last pope. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but that's all I had, Zach. Thanks for taking the call.
Amazing find. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
All right, take care. Wow, that really does blow my mind. I did not realize that happened. And I need to find the old headline because there is definitely an old headline that Corey Taylor said they would only perform Gematria, the Killing Name, for the Pope. So it turns out that they did. Wow. I've covered that headline in the past. That was years ago. And I also want to remind this about music. You know, Muse, they had that huge concert in Rome 201 days after the Pope's birthday. And this was back in the year, if I'm not mistaken, and notice how they're wearing red, white, and black, the colors of the Jesuits. That was July 6, 2013. Yeah, 201 days after the Pope's birthday. Here, I'll take this call and then I'll tell you a little bit more about this. What's up, 810?
Hey, Zach, what's up? What's up, everyone? To be quick, that's insane on the Slipknot stuff. Nice work, man. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
This event with the timing with the Pope on Easter, it's just so ridiculous. And I'm just seeing everyone on social media just eat it up. But it reminds me of like when LeBron passed fucking Kobe's. I'm sorry. When he passed Kobe's score, and then the next day Kobe was gone. It's like Easter, and then the next day the Pope's gone. It reminds me of the. It's in the mass mind, and then since it's in the mass mind, they'll do the next level for it. You know.
They just have the whole world hooked on coincidence. That's why I call it coincidence programming. And everybody's like, well, coincidences happen all the time.
Yeah, when in theory it's like them doing stuff, and I think this is a huge gap in the species mind right now, bro. It's synchronicities and coincidences. There's like two different types of people. Some of them don't have the pattern recognition to apply to actually build up the data and the synchronicities, and they'll just blame it on coincidence, and so they'll never see it. But I mean, they can. It's breaking right now. I'm seeing it like edged up more.
Well, what do we have to do in our presentation to break through to more of these people? I mean, because this is 12 years running, and we clearly have not reached enough people. What are we doing wrong over here?
Nothing, dude. It's honestly, I think it's like the opposition of whatever, like you've had to make 25 channels. How much effect has that had, honestly? And just different stuff like that. It's all added up. Because you're doing good stuff, but also our species mindset, like the attention span is so short right now with how all the attention, like all the videos are really short, everything. So making shorts on YouTube would also help, I think you already do that probably, but
like I said, that's my next thing is to learn. I bought the video editing software. My problem is I don't have enough time right now to learn how to do it right, but I want to start making short videos that are just information packed with eye candy that'll hopefully get a new audience to watch.
yeah, that would help. Maybe find someone that would edit for free or for cheap. Because I'm in the same boat I'm like a few years behind on music stuff, and I used to edit all the time in like 2007 and 8 for like hours, and now I can't even do it because there's just I don't know. There's so many people doing that now, but maybe getting someone to edit short. But YouTube Shorts helps a lot too. I noticed higher traffic put in YouTube Shorts using that.
Okay, so you just said something. I don't know if you heard what I asked for last night. I'm looking for somebody who knows how to separate the layers of audio. I need somebody to extract the background voice in the new Eddington trailer. Do you know how to do that?
I could try. I'll send you my email and you could send me the clip. And I could try to do it.
Just look up the editing. Look up the Eddington trailer. They quoted me through the whole trailer. It's my quote playing through the whole trailer.
I heard that.
Yeah, it's in the background.
So crazy. It's like manifestation, dude.
And it's a big 56 thing, right? And they just released it right before the Pope dies, Mr. 56.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize that connection. That's so wild.
Yeah, because I'm explaining the whole 56 thing through the whole background of that trailer with what they did with the Scandemic.
Yeah, which was absolutely the highest level of human programming I never expected to witness in this experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. I know who would be better at it than me too, if he's not busy enough. If he's not busy.
Indeed. Well, I'd appreciate it if you can figure that out, or if anybody out there with audio skills can figure out how to pull out the entire quote from the background that's playing through the trailer for that movie. So anyone who can do that, Eddington, I would appreciate it. All right, man. Appreciate it, 810. Thank you.
Cool, man. Take care, bro.
Yeah, you too. See you. 832.
Oh, hey, Zach. Well, I got a couple of loose connections. Sorry about the noise in my background. I'm outside. Well, the first connection I had was that the Pope died 125 days after his birthday, I believe.
Yeah, he did. Numerology's 125. He did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it reminds me of Genesis 125 and 126 that you always talk about, where God created the
first man,
created the beast and man on the sixth day. And he died on the 21st, which is the sixth triangular number, relating to the whole Church of Satan thing.
Yeah.
And I also have like a Queen Elizabeth thing. So Queen Elizabeth, today is her birthday. She would have been 99 today. I know you've been talking about the thunder. Thunder equals 99. But also, on top of that, yesterday, right, the Orioles played the Reds. And I don't know if you know this, but Cincinnati is known as the Queen City.
Yep.
And Queen Elizabeth actually only went to one baseball game in her life, and it was a game for the Orioles, I believe. And the score of that game was 5-9, like how Pope Francis equals 59.
Right.
If you can take a look at it. But another thing that I noticed is the Queen City. Relating to the Genesis 126 thing, Queen Elizabeth was, of course, born in 1926. But one thing I learned is that the phrase "the Queen City" was actually created and given to Cincinnati 206 years ago, back in 1819. So I know you brought up the number 206, and of course you talk about 206 in your book about how Masons kind of revolve around the number 26. So that's just what I wanted to add.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Take care. All right. I got to get going, you guys, so I can't take any more calls, but I do want to say a few more things real quick. All right. I have my old post that I found here about the article where Corey Taylor said they will only play Gematria Live for the Pope. And this was published on May 5th, 2023. So we're almost to the second anniversary of that. Again, we were talking about Pope Francis, so many 59 rituals. Turns out the band played the song for the first time live in forever on the 59th day of the year. Pope Francis 59, Pope 52, the Pope dead 52 days later. And just so you can see this, Gematria, or I need to come back to what's up there too, but Gematria 52, right? Kabbalah 52, Etz HaChaim 52. And you see how the Kabbalah also has the 178? The Pope's dead 178 days after the movie about the death of the Pope. 178 days later. Romulus and Remus. I see Simple Truth in the chat. I'll give you credit where it's due. He said Romulus and Remus equals 214. That's who's credited with founding Rome today on the 21st day of April. Today's Rome's anniversary of being established. Romulus and Remus is also 191 like Society of Jesus, 61 like Jesus, 61 like Cross, 61 like Church, 61 like Rome. Roman, that's what it is. Roman is 61. It's also 25. Roman, Church, Cross, Jesus. In sacred geometry, the flower of life made out of 61 overlapping circles represents God. Now, here, coming back to this Muse concert, that was a big thing for them. You can still buy the box set for this that was performed in Rome the year that you got the Pope with all these Jesuit colors all over. The first song they performed in this set was Supremacy. Supremacy. And I just want to read the opening lyrics to Supremacy. Wake to see your true emancipation is a fantasy, meaning you're not free. You're not free. Policies have risen up and overcome the brave. Do you see many people that have any bravery around anywhere? Very few. Greatness dies unsung and lost, invisible to history. How about this channel being deleted 20-some times? Because we've been doing amazing shit that's not getting any respect from almost anyone. Embedded spies, brainwashing our children to be mean. How about everything that is pushed by the algorithm? Just trash, makes people dumb. Look at all this stuff right now that's being pushed by the algorithm. Just people fighting, right person beating up on left person beating up on right person. That trash is being posted everywhere. Bullying, because, my side of the political aisle is better than yours, when really it's just two morons arguing with each other. No, you're both two wings of the same bird, part of the same circus show that's totally misleading, and only here to perform the phrase, united we stand, divided we fall, meaning it's here to divide us so that we do fall. You don't have long. I am on to you. The time it has come to destroy your supremacy. But yeah, just those are the opening lyrics of the huge Muse concert in Rome 201 days after the Pope's birthday. I'm not going to lie, though. I do like the band Muse. But yeah, you want to make it on the big stage, you got to sell out to the cabal. And again, a lot of these lyrics are dualistic. You look at them from one way and you think they're talking like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Look at what time the show started at, you guys. 2100 military time, Jesuit 21. I mean, come on. And by the way, the show started on the 187th day of the year. Here, Society of Jesus, 187. That's the Jesuits. Holy Roman Empire, 187. D.C., the land of the Holy Roman Empire. Washington, D.C. is 187, like George Washington. Remember, George Washington died with the Jesuit priest at his side who brought Jesuitism back to the United States of America. If you write out the day he died, 12/14, it equals 187. If you write out December 14th, it equals 187. From Trump's birthday to the Pope's birthday was a span of 187 days. It's just like when Trump had his convention in Cleveland back in 2016, it was on the 18th day of the 7th month, 187 days from Inauguration Day. Pointing out all those things back then, how connected the Pope and Trump have been. December 14th is also 88, like George Washington, huh? Like Holy Roman Empire, like poison, like arsenic poisoning, when the Jesuits are known for killing with poison, and George Washington died unexpectedly that day with a Jesuit priest at his side. Like, all right, thank you, George. You made being Jesuit kosher again. Oh, by the way, arsenic poisoning is also 187. Don't forget it. Don't forget. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, who made 187 popular. Dr. Dre loses his son 187 days from his birthday, supposedly a self-deletion. Is the Dow close for today? I always forget what time the market closes. What time does market close in New York? What in the world? What time does... Oh, I wrote stock market. Here, let's try this again. I've seen if the market's closing in the 38,000 range on the day the Pope dies. Yeah, the market is closed. So the market finished in the 38K range on the day of the death of the Pope. Death, 38. Murder, 38. Killing, 38. RIP, 38. Gematria, 38. Again, this ritual with Slipknot. They've lost 2 members of the band, both in 38 rituals. Gematria, 38. English, 38. Again, Gematria. Kabbalah, 38. Energy, 38. A lot of people's energy is moved through death. Think of all the Catholics who feel impacted today. Again, Pete Hegseth, another example of a Jesuit puppet, nominated to lead the military on the Superior General's birthday, November 12th. Pentagon, speaking of death, in 38. Pentagon equals 38 on the 38th parallel north in D.C. All right, I got to wrap it up. But yeah, great calls, great additions. The Slipknot thing is really blowing my mind. Corey Taylor said the song would only be performed for the Pope. And if you guys were following me at the beginning of the year, I did speculate that was the day he might die, since they were saying he was on the verge of death. I said, I won't be surprised if they do it on the 59th day of the year then. Instead, Slipknot performs Gematria, the killing name, and the Pope dies 52 days later. You can't make it up. And just here, right here for one more. Slipknot, 46. Oh, God, I forgot they had the 35, too. 35 and 46, just like Catholic. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. We've put in 2 hours of live streams today, and we raised our first $5. Shout out to King Richard TV. Thank you for keeping us from starving. Saint Malachi. Yeah, it was the prediction of Saint Malachi is that the 266th Pope would be the last. Saint Malachi equals 126, and the Pope's dead on the 126th day of his age, like Genesis 126. Wow. Yeah, good one, King Richard. King Richard always with the gems, too. Saint Malachi. Yeah, the Pope is definitely dead on the 126th day of his age. And that's interesting, because Pope Francis went in on the 72nd day of the year. We covered this back when Kobe died. This is when I was talking about this prophecy, when Kobe died on 126, sync with the Pope. But yeah, Saint Malachi prophecy says the 266th Pope is the last. If it's true, you guys, it probably means bad things are coming for the world. We'll see, though. We'll see. Saint Malachi died on November 2nd. The Jesuits operate in 112 countries. Catholicism, 112. That's the anniversary of the Balfour Declaration. Don't forget the Rothschild, whose name on that thing, died 201 days from his birthday, like State of Israel's 201. A lot of people think that's the proof the small hats run everything. Nope. They're just used like the shield. Like Rothschild means red shield, like the Templars had big fat red cross on their shield, and they're the original bankers. They put out those small hats on their shield, and everyone sees them like, oh, it must be the small hats. Nope. That's the Jesuits puppeteering them around. Same ones who gave you the calendar and the language, and have every ritual synced up with their leadership every single day. All right, again, thank you, Truth Seeker. Appreciate everyone who hit the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who subs the channel. Again, once you sub, you probably won't get any more videos. You'll probably be unsubbed in a matter of hours, because that's how YouTube's always destroyed the progress of this channel. But if you can remember this work, if you can remember this channel name, try to stick around, because we're here every day breaking it all down. So. Kayla Decode Talker says the encyclical, those are things the Pope writes, Inscrutabili, was published on this day 147 years ago. That's also interesting, because conspiracy and Freemason are 147. Gonna have to look more into that as well. All right, yeah, I got to go anyway. I went over time. I told somebody I was going to be picking up Sweet Girl about 1, and I'm almost 30 minutes late, so... Thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share. If you guys ever do want to support the work, if this work was supported properly, we'd have a Gematria Effect News private jet, and I'd be on my way over to the Vatican to speak out on the megaphone system and drop the word right there at the Vatican. And really, that's the kind of stuff that needs to be happening. Just making a show everywhere in the world when big news happens. Be right outside the doors of the Vatican, letting them know why the Pope's really dead on April 21st. All you good Catholics, did you know how connected your church is to the Church of Satan? This might be a wake-up call for you. All right. Till next time, everybody. Take care.